Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Alone or Sitting in My Mother's Basement podcast. I've really got to nail that down. I'm not exactly sure which name it should be, but I've used both of them interchangeably for about, 4 years of this podcast? How many years has this podcast been going on? Let me pull up the good old YouTube machine. Oh, and I'm not even... I'm on my normal account. I'm not even subscribed to my account. That's why I haven't been breaking in the big bucks recently. 4 years ago? Let's see. December 6th. This is... Let's call it the fourth anniversary special. I've been doing this for about 4 years. And we got 4 episodes out. Oh well, we ball. Let's see. We've been here for like 4 years, 4 episodes, but I don't think there was just a full year of hiatus. I probably graduated. That's probably what happened. And then I had a job. I still got a job, unfortunately. I'm working down at the movie theater. I get to see Red 1 for free though. That's pretty cool. I get to see what the fuck was that? We got The Rock, who was pissing in bottles the entire time he was on set for Red 1, which was crazy. And then he would just he would feel bad because he was giving his PAs bottles of piss. So he would just you know what? So, when you think of a piss bottle, you should think maybe Gatorade. Maybe something like a Coke bottle. You know? Probably not. I don't think off-brand sodas when I think piss bottles for some reason. I think piss bottles are something that you go to the gas station. You don't feel like getting a fountain drink because you don't want to have to... you don't want to drink too much and have to piss more on your road trip, and so you just get a Coke or a Sprite, Mountain Dew. That's I think a Mountain Dew. That's the stereotypical piss bottle, Gatorade, Powerade, Mountain Dew. I think that's the trifecta, the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit of piss bottles. That's what you think of. Something cheap, but not too cheap. He was pissing in Voss water bottles. My mom went through a phase for a month where she was buying nothing but Voss, and then she quit it because it was too expensive. But he's pissing in Voss water bottles on the set of Red 1. And then he feels bad for giving his PA a Voss water bottle of piss. And so he just starts giving out money on the set. Which is baffling. He should just not do it in the first place. But we are talking about The Rock here. He's probably got... I mean, he wasn't... I'm thinking about Perk Angle. I'm thinking he doesn't have head damage. I don't know if... I don't think I got the authority to talk about that. He should knock it off. I feel like it'd be good for all of us if The Rock was in less stuff. I was about to say, I really liked him in The Pacifier, but that's Vin Diesel. I think I'd rather have Vin Diesel than The Rock. Okay, but also, another thing The Rock did during the filming of Red 1, he saw Oppenheimer. And if you didn't know, Oppenheimer was on IMAX film, which IMAX film is 70 millimeters wide. It's movie film. Movie film's usually 35 millimeter. Pretty small stuff. Not tiny, but good enough size that you can get a good picture out of it. And, if you zoom in too far, you get really grainy, but it's pretty standard. Stuff has been shot for 35 for a good number of years. I'd say, I'm not an expert on it, but I'd say back into 30s, 40s. back when they were using acetate and like just whole warehouses of film stock would go up in flames because acetate's really flammable. But so IMAX film is 70 millimeters instead of 35, so it's basically double the length. It's the size of a 120 roll of film, just huge stuff. So it's very high quality, and so you can project it on really big screens. And so The Rock goes into the theater, he goes up to the man behind the counter, much like I am most days of my career in movie theater, ticket taker, attendance man. But he goes up to the man behind the counter and he goes, "Can I get one ticket to Oppenheimer?" And of course he hands over his wallet. Not his wallet, only his credit card. I don't know, he probably just paid him in like $100 bills, and he was probably like, "Hey, can I get change for this?" And he didn't buy popcorn, he didn't buy snacks or nothing. Probably an asshole. He was like, "Oh, popcorn's still $7, huh?" And then he like said some shit under his breath, like, "Oh, fucking price gougers." And then he picks up his ticket and he goes into the theater for Oppenheimer. And he sees, and it's like an epiphany. It's like a Jimmy Neutron brain blast up in The Rock's head. And he goes, "We need Red One to be shown on the biggest screen possible." And it was one of the greatest decisions cinema has ever seen. It's one of the greatest movies ever made. I love Red One. I'm not a level 4 naughty lister this year because I saw Red One. I'm like a level 20 million nice lister. I'm on the nice list. Me and my 1991 Oldsmobile custom cruiser wagon that I take to the movie theater every Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Monday. I'm only kind of part-time at the moment. Like, not officially. Dale, our boss, he just doesn't like scheduling me. So right now I just kind of work those days. Those are like my days where I rule the kingdom. You know, the great lands of the movie theater. Not to toot my own horn, but I'm a pretty good ruler. I go in, I clock in, depending on the weather. Depending on the weather, you know, because it's pretty crazy here in Waukegan. I'll either be putting my coat on the coat rack, or I'll be like, sometimes I'll just come in like shorts and a t-shirt, which Dale does not like. He's got high standards for us. I gotta change into it's kind of like a bellhop outfit. That's what he's got us in, you know, that classic Americana movie stuff. You know, red like button down with the double-breasted gold buttons on it, but they're not real gold. It's like some weird-ass bronze, copper-ass things that, like, if you don't clean them or if you leave them in the wash too long, they start turning like greenish brown. And if Dale sees that, he gets really mad and he makes you scrub them. So it's easier just to scrub them at home, because if not, he'll be like, "I'm docking your pay for this." He doesn't really dock our pay. He just like goes creatively into the books, and he talks about how we were late. Which, I mean, I was here, but a guy tried to sue him a couple years ago, and he went missing, and so everyone's kind of scared of Dale. He's kind of a serious guy. He's bald and short. Well, not short. He's shorter than me, so I perceive him as short. But he's bald, and he stands below my height. So you wouldn't think that he'd be like a threat, you know? Like, it's kind of like that very primal vision in your head where you're like, yeah, if something's smaller than me, it's not going to do anything to me. But oh my god, that man is scary. He will kill you if he needs to. In fact, I think he did. This guy came in the other week. Kind of an ass. I could tell he was kind of an ass because he was driving this BMW. And it was very clearly not like a high-spec BMW. I can tell by exhaust, I got a good ear. Not for any... I kind of mishear a lot of stuff, but I can tell when someone's driving a fake BMW because it's got a different exhaust note than the high-level ones. But he comes in, and I can tell he's holding outside snacks. Don't play with me on that. I know when you're holding outside snacks. Because, first of all, we had kind of a late fall. Fall started for, a week in August, and then it went back to summer. It was, 30 degrees one day and then 100 the next. And, sometimes it makes sense to be if people wear coats accidentally, some people pick out their outfits the day before and they won't change them. And so I thought that's sometimes the case, but it had been that way. It had been upper 70s to the 90s for the last 3 or 4 days. And this guy's wearing a coat. I can tell. You have snacks under there. Don't play with me. You got snacks in there. And he gets all pissy, no, I don't got any in here. And so, of course, he asked to speak with my manager because I'm being unfair. Don't bring in snacks. We got them. $5 for a box of Dots. That's not too bad. It's better than the Doubleplex down the street. Well, not down the street. It's kind of like a Stone's Toss. Is that the guy who makes the comics where his gay lover died? I don't know. Stone's Throw? A stone's throw away from us. It's a couple blocks. A lot of more people go in there because it's attached to the mall. And so you can, go get an Orange Julius, go to the Spencer's, Barnes & Noble. Yeah, I go to the Barnes & Noble. I don't always buy stuff. I look at the Studio Ghibli stuff, and I'll want to pick up a little, they got these little, kind of Beanie Babies, It's like a Beanie Baby version of Gigi from Kiki's Delivery Service. And, I'd really like that. But I ain't paying $15 for a little teeny tiny guy. Or, $30 for a bunch of magnets. Or get your head out of your behind. But anyway, so he's talking about how, the guys at the Cinemaplex would never do this. The Doubleplex. They'd never do this to me. I should take my business elsewhere. Let me speak to your manager, see if we can work something out. And so I gotta call Dale, and he's always really pissed on the phone anytime I need to call him. He's up in his office. He's got a weird secluded office. So we've got our own employee stairway that it's between all of the projector rooms, which they're not too small, but they're not too big, But it's a long hallway. It's up behind the front desk, behind the popcorn machine. We got our break room, a bunch of storage and stuff like that. And you got the staircase that leads up there. And so imagine you walk behind the counter, you open the door. To your left, those metal container shelves full of Dots, extra candy. That's dated really far in the future. It's honestly kind of crazy. I don't think they usually make stuff with, dates that far in the future. But I don't question it, because that means we don't have to throw it out as often. But you got that on your left. On your right, you got some... It's kind of empty on that side of the room. You got, an old... I don't know. It's like a kitchen cabinet that was very clearly in a garage for a while, because it's got, paint on it, and then the linoleum's peeling. Because it's one of those MDF. Not MDF. One of those weird plywood filled ones, and then they've got a granite topping. Or it's not really granite, it's plastic. It's plastic. It's a plastic granite coating. But you got that, and it's got like fucking I don't even know what that's got on it anymore. For a while, it just had like a box of tools, and no one really knew what that was about, and we still really don't. But it just disappeared one day, and no one ever claimed that they owned it, so we just thought that Dale owned it. But see, like to right next to that there's a couple stairs up, like 3 stairs up, a door, and then that's what leads you into the hallway. So you open that door. There's a small landing at the bottom. It's pretty steep. It reminds me of what you'd see in like an old haunted house, kind of, where you bring down that door, like the trap door to the attic. Reminds me of that a lot. Like, it's kind of scary, like going in there, because it's really dimly lit too. There's a bulb at the bottom which has burned out recently, which has made it worse. And then you've got the normal, like, the rest of it's all lit up and carpeted like normal. But this, like you'd see in the hallways. But then this staircase, for some reason, is all like unfinished wood. There's peeling wallpaper from when this used to be. What did this place used to be? Oh, somebody found an old picture of the back room. It was from the old location. I forget what it was, but it's got the wallpaper from when it was at. You know, like, it's just got a standard. It's got 2 different shaped railings. The railing on the left is just a normal round railing. It's very hard, unfinished wood. I don't use it because I tried it once and I got a splinter real bad that, like, stuck in my like, the webbing of my hand in between the thumb and the pointer finger. You know, it stuck in there for a really long time, and I only just now got it out, and it's really ugly and gross and, like, bruised. But the other side is one of those weird, like, it's more banister-like. That's all I can put it as. Like, this entire thing's like a trip to the carpet remnant store, you know. Whatever you want to say with that. But you get up there, and then you enter the hallway, and it's just normal. It's just like I'm in the theater. Except everything's all employees only. There's about 6 doors there. There's 6 doors for the projection rooms for all 6 of our screens. There's 2 on... Let's see, let me think of the layout of the theater. It starts out with 2 on the left side, and then there's an equal amount of 4 of them where they're across from each other, because we've got 2 theaters like directly as you come in, and then there's a little hallway to the right of the lobby where you've got 2 more theaters, and then 2 more theaters that are across the hall from them. But then the hallway goes on for a pretty long time. Seemingly longer than the actual building is. That's not possible, but obviously I think it's over what used to be a back room, but is now like the property of the building next to ours. I believe they had an expansion and Dale worked something out. Like, we throw everything in the back room that's behind the counter that you have to go through to get in here. But we've always, like, kind of theorized because the wall that's there is just kind of abrupt. And it doesn't really fit the square of the building. You know, like, every building in Waukegan's kind of a square. Because that's how they sell land. But anyway, it goes back for a really long time. Probably the length of what would be about 2 more of the theater rooms. And the light bulbs, I don't think he really wants to change them because only he goes back there. And so they're like this old, really low wattage. One is a really low wattage old bulb that's probably burning out because it flickers every so often. and then someone will just like screw it in a little bit, and it'll work perfectly fine for a real, like, it's like an immortal light bulb, like that one that, like the one out in California that everyone's like, oh, they could have made light bulbs last forever, but then you look at pictures of it and it doesn't like illuminate anything because that light bulb doesn't really provide light. But anyway, and then the second one, it's one of those inset like boob lights that you'll see in kitchens, and so it's a really focused spotlight coming down, and it's got this weird atmosphere. The carpet kind of, people kind of stop vacuuming and sweeping or anything, taking care of the carpet, the walls, anything, past this divider that's right after the last set of doors. It's one of those, like, it's like a transition. Yeah, it's a transition. I think it was to cover up the fact that they ran out of space on the carpet. People don't really go past there, because one time, this kid, he had, like, just started, he was, like, in high school, and his mom was forcing him to get a job, because either that or he needed more V-Bucks or something, I don't know. Whatever these kids needs, yeah, V-Bucks. But he had taken the vacuum back all the way there. No one had told him, no one was up there. But we heard Dale absolutely ripping this kid a new one because he was making sound outside his door. And no one's went back there since. Like, there are just some like empty boxes in one of the corners, and they've got these weird stains on them. And they're from suppliers that we don't get anything from anymore. And then you see his room. It's a door just like any other in the building. You know, the wallpaper's dirty, it's got stains on it. The floor is dirty. Sometimes people like throw stuff back there just to see if they can get him to come out. And it's just the same door as any other. But the name tag on it just says manager. And it's one of the ones that screw in instead of stick on. This is one from when the building first started up and they were buying everything all nice. Like most of our newer rooms, they just have like this plastic adhesive backed label on it that no one really uses anymore. But after all that, it's one of the screws that's fallen out. And so it's just kind of hanging down, kind of off kilter. And he's just always in his office up there, and we don't know no one's ever seen inside that office. The closest anyone's ever been to that office is that one kid who got his like ass torn open. So no one's checked it out ever. And I don't think anyone will ever check it out ever. He runs that place with an iron fist. The kid who came in driving the BMW and complaining about not being able to bring in outside snacks. We haven't seen him. We haven't seen his car. I'd seen his car. It went outside my apartment and it was really loud. He would always blast his music. He would always be blasting his pipes. You know what I mean? And he hasn't been seen since. So I'm kind of scared to get on Dale's bad side. Which is why I will be going back to see Red 1 for a second time at the Waukegan Ultra Mega Theater on Park and 22nd Street. Make sure to... people get confused. For some reason, 22nd Street turns into 22nd Avenue. And it isn't really well signed, so when you're driving down Park, if you're heading north, turn right. If you're heading south, turn left. We got parking out back. Luckily, I think Dale bought the building that was behind ours and demolished it and made a parking lot. So sometimes It's honestly easier to come up on Cherry Street and then just park in that lot behind and then walk around a block. It's not great parking. The buildings are right next to each other, so he can't make a walkway or anything. But there's at least parking there. Hopefully at some point we'll knock down a wall and make an entryway. But make sure to come down, see Red 1. There's Chris. That's he's played by what is his name? Oh well, it's got all the actors you know and love. It's got The Rock in it. Who doesn't love The Rock? Make sure to come down and see Red 1 at the Waukegan Ultra Mega Cinemaplex. We got 6-hole screens, 6-hole movies. Make a night out of it. And I'll be sure to see you next time, guys, on the Alone in My in the Sitting in My in the Alone in My Mother's Basement podcast. I'll hopefully be back soon, or it could be 3 years. We'll just have to wait and see.